There are moments in basketball when everything aligns. When a player reaches a height so pure, so complete, that the game itself seems to slow down. Tonight, we remember four of those peaks, four primes that changed the game forever. In the spring of 1991, Michael Jeffrey Jordan stood at a crossroads. He was 28 years old. He had scored more points than almost anyone in the history of professional basketball. He had won scoring titles. He had captured the hearts of millions, but he had never won a championship. The Detroit Pistons had beaten him. Year after year, they had beaten him. The Bad Boys, they were called. They played a physical style that seemed designed specifically to stop one man. And for 3 straight seasons in the late 80s, it worked. Jordan would drive to the basket, and they would knock him down. He would rise, and they would knock him down again. Some people wondered if he would ever win, if perhaps he was too focused on individual glory, too much of a scorer, not enough of a teammate. The whispers followed him through the summers. The questions lingered in press conferences. But something changed in 1990. Phil Jackson had introduced the triangle offense the season before, a system that required trust, that required patience. Jordan had resisted at first. He was used to taking control, used to carrying the team on his shoulders alone. But slowly he began to understand. Scottie Pippen was becoming a star. Horace Grant was reliable. John Paxson could hit shots when it mattered.
The 1990 to 1991 season unfolded like a revelation. The Bulls finished 61-21. They moved through the playoffs with purpose. And when they faced the Pistons in the Eastern Conference Finals, something was different. The Bulls swept them. 4-0. The dynasty that had tormented Jordan for years was over in 4 nights. The finals brought the Los Angeles Lakers, Magic Johnson and James Worthy, legends facing a team that had never been there before. But Jordan was ready. He averaged 31.2 points per game. He grabbed 6.6 rebounds. He dished out 11.4 assists. In Game 2, he switched hands in midair for a layup that seemed to defy physics. The crowd gasped. The legend grew. The Bulls won in 5 games. Jordan wept into the championship trophy. His father held him. All those years of doubt dissolved in that moment. He had done it, but he was not finished. The 1991 to 1992 season brought more questions. Could they repeat? Many champions had failed to defend their title. The pressure could crush even the greatest. But Jordan seemed to play with a new freedom. He had proven he could win. Now he could enjoy it.
They finished 67-15, the best record in the league. In the playoffs, they dominated again. And in the finals, they faced the Portland Trail Blazers, a team with Clyde Drexler, who some said was just as good as Jordan. Jordan answered in Game 1. In the first half alone, he scored 35 points. He made 6 three-pointers. After the 6th three, he jogged back down the court and shrugged, as if to say, "I do not know how this is happening. It just is." The moment became iconic. The shrug game, they called it. The Bulls won in 6 games, 2 championships, 2 Finals MVP awards. Jordan was building something unprecedented. The 1992 to 1993 season felt almost inevitable. The Bulls knew how to win now. They finished 57-25. Not their best record, but it did not matter. Come playoff time, they found another gear. The finals brought the Phoenix Suns. Charles Barkley had won the MVP award that year. He was determined to prove he deserved it. The series went back and forth. The Suns won 2 games at home. The pressure mounted. In Game 4 in Phoenix, the Suns led by 1 point with 14 seconds left. Jordan caught the ball at the top of the key. He drove, he pulled up for a jumper, it dropped through. The Bulls led by 1. The Suns called timeout. They had one more chance, but their final shot missed. The Bulls had stolen home court advantage.
Game 6 returned to Phoenix. The Suns led for most of the game. They would not go away. With less than 4 minutes remaining, the Bulls trailed by 3. Jordan took over. He scored a basket. Then another. Then another. He scored the Bulls' final 12 points. 12 straight points with the championship on the line. But the Suns still had the ball. Down by 2 points, 39 seconds left. They worked for a good shot. Frank Johnson drove and missed, but the rebound came to Danny Ainge. He shot. It missed. Another rebound. Kevin Johnson shot. It missed again. Horace Grant grabbed the rebound. He found Scottie Pippen. Pippen drove and was fouled. Pippen missed both free throws. The Suns got the ball back. 14 seconds left. Down by 2. They found Dan Marley in the corner. His three-point shot went up. It missed. Grant grabbed the rebound. 4 seconds left. He threw it to John Paxson at half court. Paxson caught it, turned, took one dribble toward the three-point line, released. The ball sailed through the air. Rotation perfect. Arc high. 3.9 seconds remaining. It dropped through the net. Nothing but sound. The Bulls led by 5. Phoenix called timeout, but it was over. The Bulls had won their 3rd straight championship. Jordan averaged 41 points per game in that finals, the highest ever at the time. He was 30 years old. He was at the absolute peak of his powers. Speed and strength perfectly balanced with skill and intelligence. He could score from anywhere. He could defend.
3 championships in 3 years. 3 Finals MVP awards. He had proven everything. Some wondered what was left to accomplish. But for those 3 years, from 1991 to 1993, Michael Jordan played basketball at a level the game had rarely seen. The debates would come later, the comparisons, the arguments about who was greatest. But in those moments, on those nights, Jordan was simply untouchable. He would retire briefly after that 3rd championship. His father had been murdered that summer. The joy had drained from the game. He needed time. He tried baseball for a year and a half, but the basketball world waited, and eventually he would return. More chapters would be written. 3 more championships from 1996 to 1998. But those first 3, those belonged to a version of Jordan who had just learned he could win, who still carried the hunger from all those losses to Detroit, who played with both fury and grace. Those 3 years were the perfect storm of talent meeting opportunity, of a player in his prime finally getting the supporting cast he needed, of everything aligning just right. And on those June nights in Chicago, when the banners were raised, when the crowds roared, when Jordan stood at center court holding another trophy, the basketball world watched in quiet amazement. Greatness does not announce itself with trumpets. Sometimes it just happens, night after night, until you realize you have witnessed something that may never happen again.
By the year 2000, Shaquille O'Neal had been many things. He had been Rookie of the Year in 1993. He had been an All-Star. He had been the most physically dominant player in basketball. At 7 feet 1 inch tall and 325 pounds, he was simply bigger and stronger than anyone who tried to guard him. But he had not been a champion. In Orlando, the Magic had reached the finals in 1995. Shaquille was only 23. They faced the Houston Rockets, who swept them in 4 games. Hakeem Olajuwon outplayed him. The criticism began. Too many missed free throws, not serious enough, cared more about movies and rap albums than basketball. He left Orlando for Los Angeles in 1996. The Lakers promised him championships. They paired him with a teenage guard named Kobe Bryant. They hired Phil Jackson in 1999. The pieces were coming together. But the disappointments continued. San Antonio swept them in 1999. The questions grew louder. The 1999 to 2000 season felt different from the start. Shaquille was 27 years old. He was entering his physical prime, and he was tired of the doubt. He averaged 29.7 points per game that season. He grabbed 13.6 rebounds per game. His field goal percentage was 57.4%. He was unstoppable in the paint. Teams would send 2 defenders, 3 defenders. It did not matter. He was too big, too strong, too skilled. The Lakers finished 67-15, the best record in the Western Conference. Shaquille won the MVP award. He received 120 of 121 possible votes. Only one voter chose Allen Iverson. It was the closest to a unanimous MVP the league had seen. The playoffs brought a new level of dominance. In the finals, the Lakers faced the Indiana Pacers, a tough, physical team that believed they could slow Shaquille down. They could not. He averaged 38 points per game in that series. He grabbed 16.7 rebounds per game. In Game 1, he scored 43 points and grabbed 19 rebounds. The Pacers had no answer. The series went 6 games. In Game 6 in Los Angeles, the Lakers led by 2 points with 5.9 seconds remaining. Reggie Miller hit a 3-pointer to give Indiana the lead. The crowd went silent. The championship seemed to be slipping away. But Kobe Bryant was fouled. He made both free throws. Overtime. In the extra period, Shaquille took over. He scored 9 of his 41 points in overtime. The Lakers won by 3. The championship was theirs. Shaquille held the trophy and smiled. Finally, 8 years in the NBA.
The 2000 to 2001 season brought an even more dominant version of Shaquille. He averaged 28.7 points and 12.7 rebounds. His field goal percentage climbed to 57.2%. The Lakers finished 56-26. Not as dominant in the regular season, but come playoff time, they became something historic. They swept Portland in the first round, 3-0. They swept Sacramento in the second round, 4-0. They swept San Antonio in the conference finals, 4-0. 11 straight playoff victories.
only the second team in NBA history to sweep through an entire conference playoffs. The finals brought the Philadelphia 76ers. Allen Iverson had won the MVP that year. He was determined to prove he could beat the Lakers. In Game 1 in Los Angeles, he scored 48 points. The Sixers stunned the Lakers. The perfect playoff run was over. But Shaquille would not allow another loss. In Game 2, he scored 28 points and grabbed 20 rebounds. The Lakers won by 8. In Game 3 in Philadelphia, he scored 30 points. Lakers won. Game 4, 34 points. Lakers won. Game 5, back in Los Angeles, 29 points and 13 rebounds. The Lakers won by 12. 4 straight victories after that Game 1 loss. Shaquille averaged 33 points and 15.8 rebounds in that finals. His second straight finals MVP. 2 championships, 2 finals MVPs. He was building a dynasty. The 2001 to 2002 season brought challenges. Shaquille injured his toe early in the season. He missed 21 games. When he returned, he was not quite himself. The Lakers struggled at times. They finished 58-24. Good, but not dominant. The playoffs brought doubt again. Sacramento pushed them to 7 games in the Western Conference Finals. In Game 7, Shaquille fouled out early in the fourth quarter. The Lakers trailed, but Kobe and the role players held on. The Lakers advanced. The finals brought the New Jersey Nets, Jason Kidd and Kenyon Martin, a team that had shocked the Eastern Conference. But they were no match for the Lakers, for Shaquille. In Game 1, he scored 36 points. In Game 2, 40 points and 12 rebounds. In Game 3, 35 points. In Game 4, 34 points. The Lakers swept. 4 games to none. Shaquille averaged 36.3 points in the series. He set the NBA record for most points in a 4-game final series with 145 total points. His third straight finals MVP. 3 championships in 3 years. Only the 4th time in NBA history a player had won 3 straight finals MVPs. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, and now Shaquille O'Neal. He was 30 years old. He was at the absolute peak of his powers. There was no defensive scheme that could stop him. Teams tried everything, hack a Shaq, they called it, fouling him intentionally because he shot under 53% from the free throw line. He would make some, miss others, but it did not matter. When he got the ball near the basket, points followed. The triangle offense that Phil Jackson ran was designed to feed the post, to give Shaquille the ball where he was most dangerous. And he rewarded them over and over, night after night, dunk after dunk after dunk. Backboards shattered, rims bent, defenders bounced off him like toys. But it was not just power. He had touch around the basket. He had timing. He knew when to pass out to shooters. He drew so much attention that his teammates got open looks. Robert Horry hit big shots. Derek Fisher hit big shots. Rick Fox made winning plays. And Kobe was becoming a star himself, which would eventually cause friction. But during those 3 years, they worked. 3 straight championships, 3 straight finals MVPs, 15-1 in one playoff run, 11 straight playoff wins. Historic numbers from a historic player during a historic stretch. Some critics said the league was weak during those years, that the competition was not as fierce as in previous eras. But dynasties do not happen by accident. You still have to win. You still have to perform. You still have to be great when it matters most. And Shaquille was great when it mattered most. In 19 finals games over those 3 years,
He averaged 36.3 points per game, 15.8 rebounds, 2.9 blocks. He was the single most dominant force in basketball. The dynasty would end after 2002. Shaquille and Kobe's relationship deteriorated. Phil Jackson left. The team fell apart. Shaquille was traded to Miami in 2004. He would win one more championship there in 2006, but he was older then, slower, still effective, but not the same. Those 3 years from 2000 to 2002 were the peak, age 27 to 30, when his body was still quick enough to run the floor, when his hands were soft enough to catch any pass, when his power was at its absolute maximum, when no one in the world could guard him one-on-one, or two-on-one, or sometimes even three-on-one. On those June nights in Los Angeles, when the Staples Center crowd chanted MVP, when the confetti fell, when Shaquille held another championship trophy high above his head with one hand, the basketball world remembered why he was called Superman, why he was called the Diesel, why he was called the Big Aristotle. Because for those 3 years, from 2000 to 2002, Shaquille O'Neal was simply the most dominant player in basketball, and perhaps the most dominant big man the modern game has ever seen. On the night of July 8, 2010, LeBron Ramon James sat on a stage in Connecticut and spoke 4 words that changed his life. "I'm taking my talents to South Beach." He was leaving Cleveland, leaving home, joining Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh in Miami. The Decision, they called it, the television special that announced his choice, and the backlash was immediate.
Fans burned his jersey in the streets. His hometown turned against him. He was called a villain, a traitor, someone who took the easy way. The pressure mounted in ways he had never experienced. He had been beloved. Now he was despised. And he had not won anything yet. The first season in Miami ended with promise. They reached the finals, but they faced the Dallas Mavericks and Dirk Nowitzki. And in that series, LeBron struggled. He scored only 8 points in Game 4. He averaged 17.8 points per game in the series, far below his standards. Dallas won in 6 games. The criticism exploded. He had joined a super team and still could not win. Perhaps he would never win. That summer of 2011 was the darkest of his career. 26 years old, the best player in basketball by most measures, but without a ring, without validation. The mockery followed him everywhere. Some people said he did not have the clutch gene, that he was not built for championship moments, that he would always shrink when it mattered most. LeBron spent that summer working with Akeem Olajuwon, learning post moves, refining his game, getting stronger mentally. He had to prove the doubters wrong. He had to win. The 2011 to 2012 season began with a lockout. When it finally started, LeBron looked different, more focused, more determined. He averaged 27.1 points, 7.9 rebounds, 6.2 assists. But the real change was in the playoffs.
The Heat moved through the Eastern Conference. In the conference finals, they faced the Boston Celtics, the team that had beaten them the year before, the team LeBron used to lose to in Cleveland. Boston won Game 5 to take a 3-2 lead. The series returned to Boston for Game 6, an elimination game. LeBron exploded. He scored 45 points. He grabbed 15 rebounds. He looked like a man possessed. Every shot fell, every drive succeeded. The Heat won by 8. In Game 7 in Miami, LeBron scored 31 points. The Heat won. They were going back to the finals. The finals brought the Oklahoma City Thunder, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, young stars who seemed destined to build a dynasty. The series opened in Oklahoma City. The Thunder won Game 1, but LeBron would not allow another finals loss. He averaged 28.6 points, 10.2 rebounds, 7.4 assists in that series. In Game 4 in Miami, with the series tied 2-2, he scored 26 points and grabbed 11 rebounds. The Heat won. In Game 5 back in Oklahoma City, he scored 26 points and 13 rebounds. The Heat won by 5. Championship.
LeBron fell to the floor when the final buzzer sounded. Relief washed over him. 2 years of doubt, 2 years of mockery, all of it silenced in one moment. He was a champion, Finals MVP. At age 27, in his 9th season, it had taken so long, but it was done. But one was not enough. He needed to prove it was not a fluke, needed to show he could sustain greatness. The 2012 to 2013 season brought the best basketball of LeBron's career. He averaged 26.8 points, 8 rebounds, 7.3 assists. His field goal percentage was 56.5%. His three-point percentage was 40.6%. He was efficient, dominant, unstoppable. The Heat won 27 straight games from February 3rd to March 25th, the second longest winning streak in NBA history. Only the Lakers' 33 straight wins in 1971 to 1972 was longer. During that streak, LeBron averaged 25.2 points, 7.5 rebounds, 6.9 assists. Efficiency over flash, winning over stats. He won his 4th MVP award that season, receiving 120 of 121 first-place votes. At age 28, in his prime physically, in his prime mentally, playing the best basketball of his life. The playoffs brought new challenges. The Indiana Pacers pushed them to 7 games in the Eastern Conference Finals, but the Heat survived. And the finals brought the San Antonio Spurs. Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili. The model franchise, the perfect team. Many people picked San Antonio to win. The series went back and forth. The Spurs won Game 1, the Heat won Game 2. The teams traded victories until San Antonio led 3-2. Game 6 was in Miami. Win or go home. The season on the line. The Spurs led by 5 points with 28.2 seconds remaining. It seemed over. Some fans left the arena. The Spurs were already celebrating on the bench. But LeBron hit a three-pointer. Down by 2. 20.1 seconds left. San Antonio inbounded. Miami fouled. Kawhi Leonard missed the first free throw. Made the second. Down by 3. 19.4 seconds left. The Heat pushed the ball up court, found LeBron. He drove, kicked it out to Chris Bosh. Bosh caught it, pump-faked, passed to Ray Allen in the corner. Allen released. The shot went up. 7.9 seconds remaining. The ball dropped through. Tie game. Overtime. In overtime, LeBron took over. He scored 7 of Miami's 8 points. The Heat won by 3. The season lived. Game 7 would happen. Game 7 in Miami. The championship on the line. LeBron was exhausted. The entire season had been building to this moment. He scored 37 points. He grabbed 12 rebounds. He shot 12 of 23 from the field. He made 5 of 10 from three-point range. The Heat won by 7 points. Back-to-back championships. Back-to-back Finals MVPs.
LeBron had done it. He had silenced every critic. He had proven he could win. And he had done it with the weight of an entire nation watching, with the pressure of being called a villain, with the burden of the decision hanging over every game. Those 2 years in Miami, 2012 and 2013, were the peak of his powers. Age 27 and 28, fast enough to guard every position, strong enough to post up big men, smart enough to make every right pass, clutch enough to hit the biggest shots. He averaged 29.7 points, 8.4 rebounds, 5.8 assists in the 2013 playoffs. He shot 49.1% from the field, 44.2% from three. The advanced statistics told the same story. His player efficiency rating in 2012 to 2013 was 31.6, the fifth highest single-season mark in NBA history at the time. His true shooting percentage was 64.0%. His win shares were 15.9. By every measure, he was the best player in basketball. But more than the numbers, it was the way he played, with control, with precision, with the calmness that showed he had learned from the Dallas loss. He did not force things. He trusted his teammates. When the moment required him to take over, he took over. When the moment required a pass, he passed. He played winning basketball. The Heat would return to the finals in 2014. They would face San Antonio again, and this time, the Spurs would win. Age was catching up to Wade. The roster was wearing down. LeBron would leave Miami that summer to return to Cleveland. He would win another championship there in 2016. He would go to more finals. He would keep adding to his legacy. But those 2 years in Miami were special. They were the years when everything came together, when his body was at its peak, when his mind was at its sharpest, when he finally had the championships to back up the talent, when he proved to himself and to the world that he could carry the weight of expectations and still deliver. On those June nights in Miami, when American Airlines Arena shook with celebration, when LeBron held the championship trophy and smiled with genuine joy, the basketball world saw a player at peace. He had done it. He had climbed the mountain. He had answered every question. And for those 2 years, from 2012 to 2013, LeBron James played basketball at a level that few in history have ever reached. The perfect blend of size and skill, power and finesse, leadership and teamwork. He was, in those moments, everything a basketball player could aspire to be.
Stephen Curry was not supposed to be here. As a child, he was too small, too skinny, too slow. When he finished high school, major college programs did not recruit him. They said he would not be able to compete at that level. He went to Davidson College, a small school where he could prove himself. He was brilliant at Davidson, led them to the Elite Eight in 2008. But NBA scouts still had doubts. In the 2009 draft, he fell to 7th overall. 6 teams passed on him. The Golden State Warriors took a chance.
But even then, the questions remained. His ankles betrayed him early. He missed games in his second season, missed more games in his third season. The Warriors offered him an extension, 4 years, $44 million. Some people thought it was too much for an injury-prone guard. Stephen signed it. He needed to prove he could stay healthy. Slowly, he did. In 2012 to 2013, he played 78 games. In 2013 to 2014, he played 78 games again. He was becoming one of the best shooters in the league. But the Warriors were not winning anything yet. Everything changed when Steve Kerr became head coach in 2014. Kerr installed an offense built around movement and shooting, built around Stephen. In 2014 to 2015, the Warriors won 67 games. They moved through the playoffs. They reached the finals. They faced LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers.
LeBron's teammates were injured. Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love both missed most of the series. But LeBron fought. The series went 6 games. In Game 6, in Cleveland, Stephen scored 25 points. The Warriors won. Championship. Stephen was 27 years old. He had won his first MVP award that season. Now he had won his first championship. But the Finals MVP went to Andre Iguodala. Some people wondered if Stephen had done enough. He answered the next season in a way no one expected. The 2015 to 2016 season was unlike anything basketball had seen. Stephen averaged 30.1 points per game. He became the first player in NBA history to average 30 points while playing fewer than 35 minutes per game. He was so efficient that he did not need to play heavy minutes. But the most remarkable number was 402. That is how many three-point shots he made that season. The previous record was 286. His own record, set the year before. He broke it by 41%, by 116 three-pointers. It was not just a new record. It was a complete reimagining of what was possible. He shot 45.4% from three-point range, on 11.2 attempts per game. He took shots from 30 feet, from 40 feet, sometimes from half court, and they went in, at a rate that defied logic, that defied defensive schemes, that defied history. He joined the 50-40-90 club that season. 50.4% from the field, 45.4% from three, 90.8% from free throws, while scoring 30 points per game. Only 4 other players had ever reached 50-40-90, none while averaging even 25 points per game. Stephen was operating at a level basketball had never seen. The Warriors won 73 games. They broke the Chicago Bulls record of 72 wins set in 1995 to 1996, the greatest single-season record in NBA history. Stephen was the unanimous MVP, the first in NBA history. All 130 first-place votes went to him. There was no debate, no argument. He was the best player in basketball that season. The playoffs brought dramatic moments. In the first round against Houston, the Warriors fell behind 3-1, but they rallied, won 3 straight, advanced. In the Western Conference Finals, they faced Oklahoma City, Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. The Thunder took a 3-1 series lead. The Warriors were on the brink of elimination. Game 5 in Oracle Arena. Stephen scored 31 points. The Warriors won. Game 6 in Oklahoma City, elimination game. The Warriors trailed by 8 points with 5 minutes remaining. Stephen hit a three-pointer, another three-pointer, another. The Warriors rallied. With overtime looming, Stephen brought the ball up court. He was 35 feet from the basket. 12 seconds left. He pulled up, released. The shot went up. Double bang, the announcer called it as it went through. Overtime. The Warriors won in overtime. Advanced to Game 7.
Game 7 back in Oakland. Stephen scored 36 points. The Warriors won. They had come back from 3 games to 1 down. They were going to the finals, a rematch with Cleveland. The finals began well. The Warriors won Game 1, won Game 2. They led 3 games to 1 after Game 4. 1 win away from a second straight championship. 1 win away from completing the greatest season in NBA history. 73 wins, unanimous MVP, second straight title. But Cleveland rallied. LeBron and Kyrie Irving led a comeback. The Cavaliers won Game 5, won Game 6. Game 7 in Oakland. Winner take all. Stephen scored 17 points. He shot 6 of 19 from the field. The Warriors lost by 4 points. Cleveland won the championship. The perfect season ended with heartbreak. Stephen sat on the bench after the game, head in his hands. The loss hurt. After everything they had accomplished, after the greatest regular season ever, they had come up short when it mattered most. The criticism came immediately. Some said he was not clutch, that the regular season did not matter with. Before Stephen, three-point shooting was a specialty skill, a weapon for certain players. After Stephen, it became essential. Teams that could not shoot threes could not compete. The pace of the game increased. The spacing opened up. Basketball became faster, more exciting, more dynamic. He was 27 and 28 years old during those 2 seasons, at the peak of his physical abilities. Quick enough to create space off the dribble, strong enough to finish through contact, confident enough to take any shot from any distance, and surrounded by the perfect supporting cast. Klay Thompson providing another elite shooter, Draymond Green providing defense and playmaking, Andre Iguodala and Harrison Barnes filling roles perfectly. The Warriors would win championships in 2017 and 2018 after Kevin Durant joined the team. They would win another in 2022. Stephen's legacy would continue to grow, but those 2 years before Durant arrived were special. They were the years when Stephen stood alone as the clear best player on the team, when his style defined everything, when he showed the world a completely new way to play basketball. The numbers from 2015 to 2016 remain almost incomprehensible. 30.1 points per game on 67.0% true shooting percentage, the highest true shooting percentage ever for a scoring leader. His offensive rating was 125.5. His player efficiency rating was 31.5. He led the league in scoring, steals.
He made three-pointers from distances that seemed absurd. Shot charts showed dots 40 feet from the basket. Defenders had to guard him at half court. It opened up driving lanes for his teammates. It created open shots for others. The entire offense flowed from the threat of his shooting. On those March nights in Oakland, when the Warriors were chasing 73 wins, when Stephen would come off screens and launch from impossible distances, when the crowd would gasp before the shot even reached the rim, the basketball world watched something unprecedented. a revolution happening in real time. The game being reimagined by a player who was told he was too small to succeed. And even though the season ended without a championship, what Stephen Curry accomplished in 2015 and 2016 stands as one of the greatest individual seasons in basketball history. He showed that size and strength were not the only paths to dominance, that skill in shooting could be just as devastating, that hard work and belief could overcome any limitation. He changed the game. And in those 2 years, at age 27 and 28, he played basketball at a level that had never been seen before and may never be seen again. 4 peaks, 4 players, 4 moments when greatness reached its highest point. Michael Jordan teaching the world what a champion looked like. Shaquille O'Neal showing that dominance could be absolute. LeBron James proving that pressure could be conquered. Stephen Curry reimagining what was possible. Rest now, knowing these stories will echo through basketball history forever.